All right, everyone. I hope you're having a good day today. We get to read a very cool story. It's about Cleopatra, so it is historical fiction, which means it's based off of something that really did happen, but it is still fictional. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And remember, we're still talking about characters, what they want, their motivations, what they're like, their traits, how they feel, their feelings, and their actions, how their actions contribute to our story. Remember, we've been doing those bubble maps? You guys even got to choose your own characters last week. So fun. All right, let's go ahead and get started. But let's be thinking about and reading about our character Cleopatra. 11-year-old Princess Cleopatra sailed the Nile River on the royal barge. I wonder what royal barge means. Sailed means something to do with water or sailing on a boat, so it must be something to do with water. Her father, the king of Egypt, played his flute. They were sailing from their palace in Alexandria to cities along the Nile. The king would often lead important ceremonies. Cleopatra watched for slithering crocodiles and yawning hippos. Sometimes she would catch a glimpse of a sacred ibis bird tiptoeing along the marshy banks. As the royal barge sailed, people crowded the banks, hoping to see the princess and her father. They sang and chanted and threw flowers, but it bothered Cleopatra that she could not understand what they said. Her father explained that the people of Egypt spoke Egyptian, while Cleopatra's family spoke Greek. Here she is on her boat. There are all the people waving. There's her father playing his flute. But her father was the ruler of Egypt. Why didn't he and his family speak the native language? They could thank their ancestors for that, the king said. The royal family traced its history back 250 years to the time of the Greek conqueror Alexander the Great. Alexander had conquered Egypt. Conquered means take over or defeat. When he died, his Greek general, Ptolemy, took over. Ever since, all of the rulers of Egypt had spoken Greek. Once back at home, Cleopatra insisted on learning the Egyptian language. She believed that a ruler should know her people, and that meant knowing their words. Wow, so that kind of strikes me as Cleopatra is a very kind person. She wants to understand her people. She thinks it's important to be able to listen to them. Cleopatra studied hard and soon learned to speak Egyptian, so she's a hard worker too. But she didn't stop there. She also learned Hebrew, Aramaic, Persian, Latin, and some African dialects. And a dialect is just different versions of the same language. She loved learning and excelled in math and science too. Excelled means to do very, very well in something. Later, when she ruled as queen, one of her first acts was to visit the city of Memphis for an important religious ceremony. This time, she spoke to the people in Egyptian. The people loved her for learning their language. She showed them respect and honor in many other ways, too. Cleopatra is remembered as a brilliant queen. She was the only Egyptian ruler in hundreds of years to learn the language of her people. Wow, so I'm starting to think about Cleopatra, what she wanted, right? She wanted to really represent her people and respect her people. She wanted to be able to speak to her people. She was so super smart. She loved to learn. She learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, more than 5 languages on top of Greek, which is amazing. So she was really smart. She cared a lot about the people. Yeah, so thinking about characters really helps us understand our story, which we've been talking about. So use what you learned from reading this selection to respond to these questions. Let's see, what does Cleopatra find out about herself after she learns to speak Egyptian? Be careful, there's our sequence word, after. Not before, after she learns to speak Egyptian. Well, let's see. Speaking Egyptian helps her understand her religion better. No, that's not true. She did go to a religious ceremony, but it doesn't mention anything else about religion or understanding it. She no longer thinks her father is a good king. That's definitely not it. Her family's old language no longer sounds right. I don't remember there being anything about that, but I'll go back and check. She realizes she has a love for learning. I'm pretty sure it's this one, because she really loved to learn. She learned all those new languages. Let's go back and see if we can find anything about her old language not sounding right. She learned Hebrew, Aramaic, Persian, Latin, African dialects. Oh, look! She loved learning and excelled in math and science too. Alright, that's all I need. I found something to back up my answer. So I know it's D. She realizes she has a love for learning, and that happened after she learned Egyptian. She was like, wow, I really love to learn. I'm going to learn more about math and science and more languages. And then, oh, see, look, this is 2 parts. So 2 details from the story that support our answer to part A. Well, our answer to part A was she realizes she has a love for learning. So which details support or show that she had a love for learning? She also learned Hebrew, Aramaic, Persian, Latin, and some African dialects. Does that tell us that she loved learning? They sang, enchanted, and threw flowers. Does that tell us that she loved to learn? It bothered Cleopatra that she could not understand what they said. Did that show us that she loved learning? Ever since, all of the rulers of Egypt had spoken Greek. Does that show us that she loved learning? And then the story details, she loved learning and excelled in math and science too. I'm pretty sure you know that one shows that she loved learning, since it says it right there. So I'll go ahead and circle this one, but there's 2, so you have to pick another one here. 2 details that show she loved learning. And then you just have to answer number 2 for today. Why doesn't Cleopatra's father speak Egyptian? So, which one? Go back up and find it. Okay, so that's all you have to do for today, and I gave you some of the right answers. Thanks for watching the video, and have a great day.